The UK has got to be the least free country in the free world. The free world. Whatever happened to that quaint and now seemingly faintly ridiculous idea, I wonder? Oh well, it was fun while it lasted, I suppose, as it appears that the United Kingdom's primary complaint with the European Union wasn't the overreaching laws or the tons of regulations enforced upon the United Kingdom's people. No, it was simply just that it wasn't tyrannical enough for Boris Johnson and his ilk's liking. Boris, good God, you are one hell of a disappointment, I'll tell you that much. As the UK now plans to make online pile-ons a crime. That's right, in the United Kingdom, if you ratio someone hard enough, you can go to jail for up to 2 years. Oh yes, that's a reasonable punishment. Hey, what are you in for? Oh, you know, I raped and violated a few families. How about you? Twitter pile-on. Oh, you disgusting degenerate. Jesus. Of course, the punishment is up to 2 years in prison, as noted. 2 years. God. It's just so on the face of it ridiculous too. It's not a fine, it's not a slap on the wrist or, community work. No. 2 years in prison. Christ. The definitions of the crimes are a good deal murkier, as usual. It seems like the point of legal innovation in this day and age is to make it as hard to read and as broad and open to interpretation as humanly possible. Actually, no. That's an insult to the human species. Humanity is bound by such things as morality, ethics, basic human decency. It is, of course, the goal to make it as vague and murky as politically possible, getting rid of all of those silly little ideals of, reasonableness. Posts likely to cause psychological harm can also be punished, and the best one here is also messages containing threatening communication. Now, that has already been a part of the United Kingdom's brand new entry into cyber-fascism, but now it is not necessarily that there is an actual, threat of the threat being followed through on. Somebody saying, I'm gonna kill you, and then he has a history of violence or something like that. No. You see, that was far too difficult to prove. Actually demonstrating that somebody intended to go through with a ridiculous threat on the internet is kinda hard, because unsurprisingly, ridiculous threats on the internet are usually not particularly credible. And therefore, they have now made it so that it will be enough to prove, quote unquote indeed, that the recipient, English, of such a post and message feared the threat was real. That's just brilliant. That's fantastic. I can see a light at the end of the tunnel here. As thoroughly ridiculous as this is, and of course, it gets worse as well, spreading misinformation that is false, because, all misinformation is knowingly spread. I seem to remember a bunch of newspapers talking about how, one jab of a nondescript substance would be more than enough to protect you from yet another undescript, evil thing that was occurring at the time. YouTube and all that. It would be more than enough, but now we've got 2 and we're heading towards 3. Will the newspapers be criminally liable for this? Because if so, I heartily applaud this law, frankly. Anything to send more journalists to jail, I do guess. And the potential for malicious compliance here is indeed significant. I mean, as a UK citizen, particularly if you're somebody active on social media, you could simply just, build up a little list of various lefty activists who tend to be somewhat combative on social media. I've got a whole folder of shit like that. Just for once, I'm sad I'm not a UK citizen, because I imagine I would have made some serious bank out of reporting all of these hate crimes. Though, well, unfortunately, I guess the law probably won't be retroactively effective. Truly tragic, that indeed here. Another recommendation that has been accepted is to make the online pylons a crime. Several users sending trolling messages perceived by the recipient as harassing. So the next time you get ratioed on Twitter by a bunch of angry leftists, just send in a police report. And you know what? I'm not even necessarily joking right now. I genuinely am not. The only way any of this will ever cease is if the people pushing it gets absolutely whacked with their own bloody stick. It is the only way. And here's the thing too. This is the unavoidable evolution of the criminalization of intent. This, of course, started all the way back with stuff like hate crimes, where you made something that was criminal, like assault or actual literal threat of harassment, etc., or threats of violence and so on, which were already criminal, mind you. You made the crime a crime on top of the crime by adding on the intent of the criminal. Oh, you were violent towards this person because he is black. Now we have a double crime. He already committed the crime of violence, and now we are going to speculate and really get our mind-reading powers going so as to divine the criminal's intent so as to punish him yet further. Now, there are certain circumstances in which this is theoretically possible. If a person has like a 5-year history of writing the N-word in very aggressive circumstances online and then ends up killing a black person, yeah, there is probably a motivation there. But in the vast majority of hate crimes, the motivation is incredibly murky. And the problem there is also that not enough people are getting convicted of hate crimes because it's damnably difficult to prove intent. And so the logical step, from the political point of view anyways, is to simply broaden the interpretation. See, one of the Trumpalophagus' best ideas was that if you want a new piece of legislation or regulation, you need to remove 2 previous ones. We need this in the legal system. If you want a new law, you had best be damn sure it's worth it, because you're going to have to yeet 2 previous pieces to get it. Otherwise, we're going to end up with more and more of these crimes. Right now in Norway, we're currently having a debate with our ruling Communist Party, because for some reason we voted them back into power again. Limited franchise is the future, I tell you. Anywho, where they want the Workers' Party here wants to make it criminal to have sex with someone without their consent. And in this case, specific consent. Literal consent, as in, I would like you to have sex with me. Hold on, I gotta hear it. Oh, I consent to engage in sexual intercourse with you. It's real sexy, by the way. But as the opposition parties, and even their partners in government, bless their little souls, are pointing out, hold on, you already can't have sex with someone in Norway without consent, it's rape otherwise. Because as it turns out, sex without consent is indeed rape, already a crime. So why would you criminalize the crime? It's ridiculous. It's literally nothing more than another piece of paperwork to chog up the administrative machinery. That is literally all this is, but of course this is targeting the online sphere. This is targeting social media, which of course means it's going to be targeting a very specific group of individuals. And of course the knowingly spreading false information. Again, knowingly. How do you know that somebody else knows what they know? Somebody could actually just genuinely believe the thing they're talking about. Not everybody is a scientist with a PhD, and even then, Fill a room with scientists and you will have more opinions than you have assholes in that place. It's another attempt at stifling online discourse, at freedom of speech, and this is the danger as well. As much as I have been arguing recently for increased regulation, this is the wrong kind of legislation and regulation, unless at the very least we have some kind of oversight body, maybe yet another superfluous entity, I know, but something to make sure that the rules are applied evenly. Hell, if anything, we need a full-on legislative system to determine whether or not online actions are indeed correct or not. If YouTube wants to ban you, for example, they should prove to the satisfaction of an independent governmental body that they are allowed to ban you. Of course, the inevitable consequence of that is that you get a governmental body staffed by leftists. It's not an easy solution to any kind of this problem now, is it? But honestly, the Trumfolophagus one, yeet 2 pieces for each one. We have so much legal bloat at this point, and yet we continue to shove in more by making crimes crimes. What a world we live in. But Boris Johnson, the greatest disappointment in the history of the United Kingdom. Yeah, no, actually I'll stand by that. I figured that a certain other individual in recent history might be even worse, but no, this is probably it. Anywho, until next time, thank you all very much for watching, and remember, if you enjoy these videos, please do consider leaving a like and a comment down in the comment section below, because that is what the YouTube algorithm likes. It tickles its little pickle most ferociously. And maybe, just maybe, if we get enough people in enough positions of influence, we can turn this around. I know, bald-faced lie, but hey, can you blame me? I am at the mercy of the algorithms. Have a good day.